right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Torn Tuesday, your weekly dose of all things Lord of the Rings and Hobbit. And your co-host is still getting his show set up. Isn't that funny? Isn't
I
that
have
neat?
everything set up. How are you guys? Nice to
Uh,
see you.
Very good. Very good.
Such a
Nice to
pleasure.
see you. Welcome to December of 2023. This is the final month of what we call a dead year in Lord of the Rings because there was no new TV show, there was no new movies, there was no new DVD releases, but there was two video games released this year, and I highly recommend one of them, Return to Moria. Nerd of the Rings, Matt, who just passed 1 million subscribers, has been doing weekly live streams playing Return to Moria. And it's a fun crafting game. Think of it like
Yes, he has.
Minecraft.
He has been putting together some really great playthroughs with other people in the Tolkien community. It's been a great deal of fun. And you yourself, Justin, have been a very agreeable player on this Return to Moria adventures as well. That's really cool, actually.
Yeah,
How are you doing?
it's a fun game, and
Yeah? You doing good at it?
I here's the thing. I don't think anyone's good at it. It's like Minecraft.
Oh,
You
really?
know how to pick an axe, collect materials, and then build stuff. And the whole game is just getting to a certain area and just looking at just a raw cavern and being like, you know what? I will build a hearth here, and then I will build a stove, and then I will build a bed,
Oh, I
and
see.
then you go further, and if you go like 2 or 3 hours further into the caverns of Moria, you realize, oh, I don't want to die and go all the way back. So you look around, you find another cave, and you literally
Yeah.
set up camp, and you're like, I will build a hearth here, and I will build a
Oh.
weapons thing. So that's all it is just you keep exploring the
Environment
caves
building?
of Moria.
Continuous environment building and surrounding yourself with an ecosystem that you can sustain? Is it therefore like you know what, Animal Crossing or some other resource collection games where you're
Yeah,
trying to
it's kind of
collect
like
resources?
Sim City. I mean,
A sim.
yeah, it's kind of like that. You're not trying to keep anybody alive, and you're not trying to raise pets. All you're trying to do is like explore more of the caverns,
Mm.
uh, and every once in a while you'll come upon an orc camp, and you gotta kill all the orcs, and some of them get more difficult. But then you go find a jewel that happens to be related to Durin or the elves or something like that. So
Oh,
um,
okay. So
anyway,
a lot of resource
watch.
management. Hmm.
If you're looking for a game to get for your
Hmm.
Lord of the Rings family member, because it is the holidays, and we'll go
Yes,
into
it
our
is.
Lord of the Rings gift guide later on in the show today. I recommend Return to Moria. It's just a fun game. It just came out on PS5 this week, so it's available for PlayStation. But we've been playing
Oh,
it on
nice.
PC, and honestly, I think
Nice.
PC is the way to play it because it's mostly like Minecraft. Let's look at the chat room. We've got
That
Cecilia and
sounds
David
cool.
and Ellen and Daisy and Jeannie and Monica and Susan and Anonymous Girl and Robin and Imran. Great to see so many of our wonderful regulars.
Yes.
Pipsky has been a long time
Yes,
regular.
Pipske. We have such a faithful audience that has been with us for so many years, and you can never, ever underappreciate your good, faithful audience. And we do not. We do not underappreciate or overlook. So glad that you're all here with us. And we have multiple platforms going. You can chat with us now, right now, live in YouTube. There's also Facebook and Discord, and we're broadcasting on Twitch, all kinds of fun places.
Yeah.
The dynamism of this past weekend's Los Angeles Comic-Con is something that we must gently review. We must gently review
Yeah,
the
go
recent
ahead.
events at
That was this
Los Angeles
Saturday.
Comic-Con.
We had a wonderful panel.
Yes,
Unfortunately, I couldn't
indeed.
make it
It was
over there.
great.
but we had Team
And
Torn. Torn is not just anybody. It is a collection of
yes,
fans that have raised their hand
that's
over the
right.
years and said, "Hey, I can help do stuff." And so, if Torn happens to have the access, we're not Access Media. We don't sell ourselves and sell ads and do pay for play, but we do have access for being around so long. So,
Yeah. Oh yeah,
Cliff, how was
we do.
LA
And
Comic Con?
well, I actually missed it on the main Saturday because I had a wedding couple that needed to elope, and
So you
suddenly
don't
I was
even know.
off.
You mentioned LA Comic Con.
Oh,
Well, thank you
I
to
was there
everybody
Sunday.
that went to LA
Well,
Comic
I
Con and were able to participate in the panel,
we
and
were,
everybody that showed up to
and
learn a little bit
as
more.
I
Cliff,
was saying,
you helped write the panel, though, right? So you know what we talked
as
about.
as I'm saying, I still have a great deal to report. Even though I'm the panel presentation on Saturday, it's so strange to have sudden obligations that take you away from a big presentation that you're giving to everyone at the convention. But they had to get married, and so I had to run.
Well,
But I'll tell
speaking
you what,
of
all those volunteers that you mentioned a second ago.
right, speaking of obligations, Bear McCreary is a busy man. He keeps booking gigs, and today he announced that he will be back for the third season of Foundation. This is exciting. Foundation, of course, is the Lee Pace show on Apple TV, and Lee Pace is stunning in it. But I really, really appreciate here that Bear McCreary has credited his team at Sparks and Shadows. Sparks and Shadows, of course, is his company that does all the work that he books. And Cliff, we've talked about a little bit on this show about how Bear McCreary up till now has taken sole credit on everything.
Yes, we have talked a little bit about that. It's certainly the done thing with a lot of Hollywood composers, big names who hire
Hans
a team
Zimmer.
of people to work with them, do most of the heavy lifting. But as I was saying, I wanted to give acknowledgement to Nancy, Ellen, and Christy and Nicole,
And
who came
Nicole.
together and put together a wonderful panel presentation in the absence of the two of us. And they did swimmingly. They had a great time. And the fan response on Sunday was the talk of the convention. The four hobbits were there: Sean, Dominic, Elijah, Billy. They had such a great experience. 2 days in a row, huge main stage presentations. The energy there was great. It was an all-around successful convention. Well done. Now, back to the Bear McCreary thing. I tell you what.
And this was a wonderful cosplay with Elijah Wood at LA Comic Con. Look at that.
That was so great.
Being represented
So great.
at LA Comic Con. And just, I want to know where she got that outfit. It works so well.
Handmade stuff.
Like,
that stuff is all handcrafted. I love it when they do that.
Immediately, I'm like, that's awesome.
Did you know that there was a massive photo where all the Middle Earth cosplayers did a big group photo in the main lobby of the convention center there's one time they do the Marvel characters, and then there's another time they do Middle Earth characters, and this huge group ensemble was really dynamite stuff. And look, there's Ellen. Ellen has joined us in the chat. Hello, Ellen. Lovely to see you joining us in the chat. I tell you what, it's a photographer's paradise. You're running around that convention and you will see so much good cosplay. I mean, really good cosplay. And my gosh, it was a really robust weekend. You know, it's a lot easier to access. I mean, it's really hard to get down to San Diego, and to get down to all that stuff in San Diego is nuts. LA Comic-Con is much easier to access. It's a big difference.
It's a cosplay convention. Don't go expecting a lot of big things and big booths. It was interesting.
Yes.
I heard reports at LA Comic Con that all four branches of the U.S. military had booths at a Comic Con.
Well, there are 5 branches now, and that means that the space, what is it? Space Guard.
Space.
They didn't show up at Comic Con.
Right.
The new one. Yeah. So, whoa! I didn't know that.
Yeah,
Were they trying
Cliff,
to recruit people? Are they
Yeah,
recruiting kids at the Comic-Con?
I don't know. I don't know. Torn is not the place for politics, so
Not at
I
all.
found it interesting because I've never gone to Comic Cons for all these years. I've never seen the four branches of the U.S. military have booths at a Comic Con.
I've
But
never seen that before.
I did see. I don't know. I can't find it now. It's so hard to find things with the algorithms. Like if you scroll past it and
Yes,
you
yes,
try
it
to
is.
find it again, you can't. So I can't find it
Yeah.
again. But Cliff, did you see the photo of Boromir himself, Sean Bean, at a political rally this week?
Yes, I did. In fact, that just came across the airwaves right to me recently. Somebody just sent that to me, and it was noticed on Twitter, X on Twitter, as I still want to call it, that Mr. Sean Bean was at a pro-Palestine march and protest.
Interesting, interesting. It's not for any of us to have an opinion on this stuff again because this is not a political venue, and you can't when it comes to certain international things, any opinion
Yeah.
is a controversial one. But it's good to
Well,
see
wasn't it super
Sean Bean.
controversial for Viggo Mortensen 20 odd years ago when he was making statements against the Iraq war? And there was some
Oh, he's
controversy that
still
Viggo was willing to court at the time.
Vigo's the guy, and so it's. I don't recall Sean Bean, Boromir himself, um, having any opinions here or there. So it was fun
No.
to see a picture
Yeah.
of Sean Bean. Cliff, do you know there was another huge Comic Con this weekend? Not just in Los Angeles, but Sao
What?
Paulo, Brazil. The huge
Oh,
Brazil
that's
Comic
where
Con.
somebody threw something at Florence Pugh and hit her in the face after they saw the opening 10 minutes of Dune Part 2. Yeah,
I
that's what
did
happened
not
at the
hear
Brazil
that part.
Comic-Con.
Why are we hearing like
Why
Cliff?
are you kidding? It went so viral, it made national news.
I
So
didn't
it
see
went
that.
outside the
Wow.
internet and onto the national stage of news
I hate
because
these social
Florence
media
Pugh got hit in the
algorithms.
face. Somebody threw something at her.
There's no reason to
It's
amplify all
terrible.
this negativity. So let's amplify some positivity here. Cliff, look at this.
Well, I'm
Amazon
not amplifying
Prime's
negativity. I'm just saying that
huge
people need to
new
behave.
show is Fallout, and they opened it with an actual concert.
Fallout. You mean, is this Bear McCreary music for Fallout?
Peraí que aconteceu alguma coisa aqui.
So, folks, yes, you saw that at the huge. I would some claim that it's the second biggest Comic Con outside of San Diego. Brazil Comic Con this
Wow.
weekend. Prime Video debuted the Fallout trailer of their brand new huge show that's coming out in April, and they opened the panel with a concert on stage. Cliff,
Where did they learn that technique from?
where did they get that idea?
Yes. Where did they first learn how to do that as a marketing thing?
No, but
Back at
really,
our
if you guys don't
well,
remember, because I
yes.
wasn't there, I was at the booth. Cliff, how did Amazon Prime open up San Diego Comic Con's Rings of Power panel?
It wasn't this summer, obviously. It was last summer in 2022. And they had everybody seated in Hall H, and they had these drop screens, very large drop screens that were run across the circumference of the room. They were very discreetly, not entirely discreetly, because I saw them. They were discreetly trying to move orchestra musicians and large orchestra instruments onto the stage behind the drop screen. And I saw them. There was an upright bass. There were violas going by, violins, all kinds of things going by.
It was exactly what you just saw here, a full mini orchestra on stage.
Lo and behold, the first thing that happens was, ladies and gentlemen, Bear McCreary. Nuts. The energy in the room. They didn't even say, ladies and gentlemen, Prime Video presents The Rings of Power. No, it was like, ladies and gentlemen, Bear McCreary, people screaming, awesomeness. He came out like a rock star. He really entered the stage like a real rock star. And boy, was it wonderful to hear the music. The music was gorgeous. Now, what a great technique, because it brings an element of real class and real artfulness and thoughtfulness to the whole ordeal. And I think that's interesting for the video game to be marketing itself with the same kind of technique. It's very cool.
Well, this is a TV show, Amazon Prime's new $100 million
Oh,
TV show
I
based
meant to
on the
say
game Fallout.
the TV show
And
based on the game. Yeah.
so Cliff, what I'm
Yeah.
hearing is everything that Amazon Prime did to market Rings of Power at Comic-Con 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, they're repeating. So they must have considered it a huge success to have a mini orchestra on stage, because they did it again. Again, look at this footage from Brazil.
Oh gosh, that's so cool.
And so Cliff, I guess this is the first validation
Oh yeah.
that we have from Amazon that they consider Rings of Power, what they did to market the show, as success. This is the first time they've repeated anything that they've done previously with Rings of Power on another show. And here we are.
Oh goodness.
So, Rings of Power season 2 next summer, San Diego Comic-Con. Will we get another Bear McCreary performance, or will they find a way to step it up even more? Who knows? But Fallout's looking really good. The premiere the premiere episode is directed by Jonathan Nolan. Of course, that is Christopher Nolan's brother, and himself a successful showrunner in his own right with Westworld.
Oh yeah. Mr. Westworld himself.
Mr.
Yes.
Westworld himself, someone that I think should really be involved in Rings of Power, because Jonathan Nolan really understands how to tell a story that has to do with the passage of time and the impact of time. If you look at the history of Christopher Nolan and Jonathan Nolan's movies, including Westworld, there's a definite understanding of the powerful impacts of time. And as Cliff, as you described, Tolkien's entire Second Age story revolves around the passage of time and how different races deal with that.
Yes, it is, very much so. And of course, the elves who have an immortality that is unique, they're not forever immortal, but they're only immortal as long as the bounds of the physical earth exist. So within the circles of the world, as Tolkien would say, within the physical circles of the world, the elves are immortal. But after the circles of the world are gone and over, then the elves will not be immortal anymore. And that's it. That's it for their destiny. And they know that. And the elves are kind of bothered by that. They're also bothered by the fact that mortal men, have a different spiritual destiny after death that is unknown, completely unknown to them. So they are always having this little thematic go-round. There's a lot of thematic go-round about the passage of time. And
the entire fall of
in the
Numenor
late Third Age
is instigated by men's desire to change their fate.
Very much so. And also Galadriel uses the ring of adamant to create her own miniature dominion where time slows down and the aging of the earth slows down. And, an approach to deathlessness by prolonging the inevitable.
The whole magic of Galadriel's Force of Lothlorien is based on the power of controlling time. And it's just...
In one sense.
It just shocks me that we're 8 hours into the show. We're 1/5 of the way through the show, and we have had zero discussion in the narrative of the show.
Yeah, about that.
That's time, because time is the ultimate enemy. I wouldn't say enemy. Is the ultimate is the MacGuffin. It is the driving force of everyone's narrative.
It's the driving force of everyone's moral and immoral choices. Yes, correct. And it reminds me of that very distinct Dylan quote, that time is the fire in which we burn. which was used so appropriately by Jean-Luc Picard. But when you think about that from the elves' perspective, that time is the fire
I
in which
think
we
about it
burn,
from the
it's
Numenor
fascinating.
perspective. How
There's
they
always that. The
they
great
fail a
contrast
kingdom.
between them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
Oh, yeah.
destroy themselves over
You know
this
what was
desire
their
of
pride?
time.
It was their pride. Well, they were already given long life, Justin. Remember that they
But
were
not eternal
rewarded.
life.
They were rewarded longer lifespan and a beautiful island continent for all their helping fight against Morgoth in the great wars.
Cliff, what does
At the
this
end of the
comment
first
in the
age.
chat room mean? Can you explain this comment? TD Matthew
Hmm.
1989 says, "Time is also the lever that will separate the faithful from the other Numenorians."
Yep, that's true. Because the faithful Numenorians don't are not seduced by Sauron's talk of immortality or taking some other spiritual destiny that is not theirs. The faithful to the Valar remain the faithful, while the other kingsmen, the kingsmen who are faithful to Pharazôn and Sauron, and ultimately end up building a temple to Morgoth. It's all because of time, and it is the distinction that separates them. Absolutely.
And the fact that we haven't had any conversations about time yet in the show is just ridiculous. Moving on. Speaking of
Yeah,
Amazon,
I agree with you. I agree with that.
Amazon really brought it big, as well as a bunch of other studios to Brazil Comic Con. I saw Netflix had a giant Zack Snyder Rebel Moon thing.
The Rebel
and
Moon marketing is starting in earnest. Yes.
Jason Momoa is there promoting
Yes.
Aquaman. That's out in a couple weeks. And they had the first trailer for season 2 of the giant fantasy sci-fi show Halo. And for some reason,
Oh my goodness.
Amazon Prime, when I logged in this weekend, said I could watch the entire season 1 of Halo on Amazon Prime for free. Folks, this was a Paramount Plus exclusive show. Halo was previously only watchable on Paramount Plus, which my free trial expired. So I was very surprised today, and you guys should check it out. I don't know what it is on every country, but on Amazon Prime, supposedly, this is a screenshot of my TV. On Amazon Prime, you can watch season 1 of Halo. Was it really bad, is the question from Wheatbix. It was fine. Was Rings of Power season 1 really bad?
No, it wasn't really bad.
Wheel
it
of
was
Time
fine.
season 1 really bad? Is Halo season 1 really bad? Look, all of these huge
the Next Generation season 1 really bad?
Right.
Yeah.
You're getting our point. Season 1 of most shows have not been the best. But it's worth checking out. I will say this. The biggest issue that I have and most people have with season 1 of Halo was, like, I'm willing to go for the ride and on the changes to the lore from the video games, but it's the same issue I had with the Book of Boba Fett. Like, the entire character of Boba Fett and the entire character of Master Chief in Halo revolves around them never taking off their helmet.
Right.
And in both of those shows, they took off the helmet for a significant part of the show, because the producers and the studio execs said, well, we have to see their beautiful faces. We're paying these actors. And that's not what these characters demand. I don't know why my hat's so big. That's not what these characters demand. So supposedly they've learned their lesson, and season 2, which will be coming out in the spring, has a lot more action and a lot more Master Chief with his helmet on. But it's I had the same issues with the Book of Boba Fett. Boba Fett should have never taken his helmet on. And, you know, just like season 1 of Halo, season 1 of Wheel of Time, season 1 of Rings of Power, none of them hit the mark. Okay? Is it awful, like painful to watch?
But they showed promise.
Yeah, it showed promise. I liked some of the things they did. You know, I liked some of the things they did. So anyway, it cost you nothing, folks. We all know that you watched Rings of Power here on this show. We all know that you have an Amazon Prime account because it's a Christmas season and they have free shipping. So You might as well, if it costs you
Funny.
nothing, you might as well give Halo a shot because you can watch it for free on Amazon Prime. Speaking of other things to watch on Amazon Prime, it also offered me this weekend a documentary free with ads. So I guess it's on Free V, but through Amazon Prime app on your TV. The Real Middle Earth. This fascinating documentary takes us in J.R.R. Tolkien's footsteps and investigates the landscapes, buildings, places, and names that helped shape Middle Earth. Sir Ian Holm narrates this exploration into an imaginary world from 2007.
The late Sir Ian Holm.
So
Yes.
that is available for free on Amazon Prime as well. Weedbeck says Stranger Things is an
interesting.
example
Heard about
of
that
being
one.
good from the start. Again, yeah, some things are great from the start. And just from the history of television, most TV shows don't get good until season 3. It's just
Yeah,
it's that
that's
common.
true.
Am I
That
wrong?
happened
Cliff?
with no, it happened many, many, many times with all of your favorite Star Trek shows. It really happened with a lot of other big popular phenomenon shows where they started off with a pretty good, but only got into their stride, really hitting all the marks by season 2, 3. That is actually how it works. It is not unreasonable to say that that's a predictable pattern in TV shows. It's very predictable. Happens all the time.
Yeah.
Yes.
Another
very
big release posted to, again Twitter today. Ralph Bakshi has found some animation cells from a deleted scene from his 1978 The Lord of the Rings movie. This is a deleted scene of Gandalf fighting the Balrog.
the transformed version of the Balrog, who is no longer a flame, but has, as Tolkien describes him, had been thrown into the bottomless lake underneath Khazad-dûm and was then a wet, slimy creature. So yeah, and this is where Mr. Bakshi had a team of people clean up the damage and the old cells, and it looks restored in a way that it hasn't looked in forever. And it is very interesting. And literally, the one thing that he mentions in that tweet is that this footage was not rotoscoped, which is an interesting historical note that Ralph would choose to mention. Check it out. It's really crazy.
Ralph and his team could really animate. They didn't just draw over things.
Of course.
They animated.
Oh, yeah.
Like
well, I mean, I'm looking at, I can see the things that animators do, like motion lines, like when he swings the sword and what's left in the air behind it is a white whoosh, whoosh, the shape of movement. I love all the tricks of animation to give strange gravity. There's a lot to talk about the effect of good animation, and it all comes from the ability of the artists to effectively and vividly recreate the physics of gravity and how weight pulls down on characters, their clothing, their faces, their hair, and the environment around them, affecting them. And then you have this quality of Gandalf zooming through this underground tunnel, almost weightless, and the Balrog jumping away and trying to avoid Gandalf's blade. It's really, really cool. I wonder why, though, it was cut from the film. I wonder why it was cut after they bothered storyboarding and full drawing and in between. All the in-between animators did all their work. All the ink and paint department did all their work, and then ended up being cut. It's not a very cost-effective way to make animation, especially not back in the 70s.
This clip, Cliff, reminded me that War of the Rohirrim, coming out next December, really actually has a true opportunity to show us things we've never seen before.
Oh, yes. Absolutely.
Because it is animated. It is being animated in Japan. I think some of the magic of the Lord of the Rings films was that we had never seen some of those things on a screen like that ever. We had never seen an army that big of horse riders go into an army of orcs and trolls and oliphants and
Yeah.
everything, and the fights of the Balrogs and Gollum and everything that's in Lord of the Rings that it won all the Oscars for. No one had ever seen on screen before. But there's something about the animation. You just said it. There's something about animation that lets you put things on screen that can't be real, but can evoke an emotion.
Oh, very much so.
And War
Very
of the
much so.
Rohirrim has an opportunity to wow us with some
And
incredible.
you are correct in saying that. They can be more ambitious. They can be way more ambitious. And they could do things with this approach to animation that can really effectively bring us into the story in a whole new way. And I'm quite excited, really. It's, all my buttons, like my Lord of the Rings, J.R.R. Tolkien button, and my animation button are being pressed at the same time. And I'm like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. I'm excited. I'm so excited about that. Do you know what? There's a lot of talk because New York Film Critics Circle just gave Miyazaki's new film, The Boy and the Heron, Best Animated Film of the Year, which is causing a lot of people to sweat.
It's come early in the show today.
It's coming early in the show,
but for the end of the show.
But there is an Oscar category, and we're talking about the future Oscars for Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim. Okay, there is a special Academy Awards category called Best Animated Feature, and as any animation historian will tell you, it began back in the late 80s, early 90s perhaps, when Beauty and the Beast was released by Disney Studios, and it nabbed 1 of 5 Best Picture nominations. They didn't have 10, they had 5 Best Pictures. And there was a big clapback, a lot of anger. A lot of people in this industry were really, really upset that a hand-drawn 2D animated film would take a place that is better, according to their snooty point of view, better reserved for deserving films, which are live action. Evidently, animation doesn't deserve to be acknowledged in the Best Picture slot. In response to that, the Board of Governors at the Academy Awards quickly changed their charter, and they added a whole new separate category to prevent anybody being upset again that an animated film might end up with a Best Picture nominee. So that was the birth of the Best Animated Feature category. Now, this year, everyone's like, oh yeah, Across the Spider-Verse. Oh yeah, definitely. It's going to be Spider-Verse wins. Well, we'll see about that. Miyazaki is cranking a lot of buzz and energy with his new film. A lot of buzz. Now let's look at next year. Let's look at what might happen if not just live action Lord of the Rings films are going to have a shelf full of Oscars. It's just as possible if The War of the Rohirrim is Best Animated Film quality that they could get more Oscars for the Lord of the Rings franchise. I'm excited about that possibility. Very excited about that.
Question from the chat room. Have you heard anything about the finalizing of the actors' strike? I heard that not all actors are happy.
Have they ratified? Did they vote on it yet and ratify everything?
The voting is currently active. I don't think we have. I don't think it's closed yet.
You know, it's not fully resolved, and that's a good point. It is not fully resolved yet. Boy, is that strange. It's so strange that it should have been voted on and resolved by now, but there's some sticking points that have become controversial, and obviously it revolves around AI and the use of full body scans of your likeness. If you're a background actor, you might never get background work again if you let them scan you. So that's why there's still some debate about that. I should investigate further. I should ask one of our friends.
Yeah,
who was a strike captain.
We'll get back on you. Let's see if we can get some more information on that for next week.
We need to get some research on
There was big news last week after we went off the air. Huge news that Peter
Yes.
Jackson regains control of Weta Digital. You might remember last year, actually, it was like a year ago, right now, like this week. A year ago, Peter Jackson announced that he had sold the digital tools, all those digital tools that help make the massive armies and all the digital things for Avatar and Planet of the Apes, all the digital tools that Peter Jackson and Weta Digital had created from scratch to win all those Oscars. They sold for $1.6 billion. It made Peter Jackson a billionaire. To a company called
Yes.
Unity. Unity is a video game company. They make a video game platform that is huge for mobile devices. Huge for phones. But it is Unity works across all platforms, desktop and stuff like that. So they just announced last week that Unity, due to budget constraints, have decided that they don't want to be in the visual effects business anymore. And
so they sold it back. Really?
That they didn't sell it back,
Really?
Cliff. They gave
What?
it back.
No, are you kidding me?
So, from what I understand,
Goodness.
Peter Jackson got $1 billion, $1.6 billion last year, and he doesn't have to give any of that money back.
Oh,
and
gosh.
He gets the
Wow.
name. He
Wow.
gets the name back. He gets access to the tools back for free. And he and the heads of Weta Effects, Peter Jackson's company, have said that they're going to try to rehire as many of the laid off, made redundant people as possible. So basically, Peter gets to keep his money, and he gets the name back. Not a bad deal.
Wow.
Not a bad deal.
That is unheard of. I don't understand. What do they tell their shareholders that it's a tax write-off? What are they doing?
They just said so. Supposedly,
we threw money away and now it's okay.
They didn't
I don't
throw
get
money
that.
away, Cliff, because look at this picture. This picture is of
All right,
the volume,
show me.
the famous volume that Star
Yes.
Wars and the Batman was filmed on. You know, it's the 100% all digital screens. Well, those digital sound stages are using those 8K screens, but the computer that powers what's on those screens for production is a competing software to Unity by a company called Epic. And so Epic Games makes Unreal Engine. Unreal Engine is used on the Star Wars volume.
Okay, now I get it.
So, and it's becoming a huge business, right? Everyone wants to shoot on the volume. It's all digital, and it's all based on Unreal Engine by Epic Games. Unity, a competitor to Epic Games, decided to buy Peter Jackson's technology last year, thinking that they wanted to get into this business and build digital stages around the world, all using Unity game engine.
Okay.
So it was a strategic bet. But unfortunately, they didn't just do anything with it. They went to SIGGRAPH. They went to a bunch of visual effects production conferences explaining the value of Weta Digital tools and Unity game engine and digital production pipelines and everything like that. So they made a good faith effort. But after 1 year and not picking up any business, and by the way, Weta Digital, Weta Effects won the Oscar for Avatar: Way of the Water this year.
Yes, they did.
This year.
Yes, that's right.
So look, if you can't drum up any work after the tools that you have just won an Oscar, it was obvious that they didn't really know the business. They didn't really know how to do it. So that's why it was that's why Unity has given back, just whole cloth. They've given back the name Weta Digital, and
This
there you go.
strikes
And
me as
he
so
gets to
strange.
he
It's
and he gets
so
to keep the
strange.
money.
They've given back the brand. They've given back the digital assets. They've given everything back to Peter Jackson, and he kept the deal money. This is so strange. What does Unity do? Say this is the biggest tax write-off ever?
It's not like Warner Brothers with the tax write up. They made they made a good faith effort
Mm.
to expand their business horizons using Oscar-winning technology from Planet of the Apes, The Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit, and Avatar,
Mhm.
and they didn't drum up any business.
So strange.
So basically,
Wow, that's
everything's
a lot of
back
money.
in Peter's hands. They're continuing to make, and we reported last week that James Cameron has applied for New Zealand citizenship. So Peter Jackson, James Cameron, they're best buds. They're in New Zealand.
You're frozen.
Oh, there you go. You're back.
Oh, here I am. Well, you were frozen for a minute.
Oh, okay. Well, James Cameron and Peter Jackson are going to continue to hire the programmers back to keep
Okay.
making the tools to make Avatar 3 and hopefully more Lord of the Rings movies, even more spectacular. Cliff, let me ask you this.
That's right.
Now that Weta Digital and Weta Workshop have worked with James Cameron to win an Oscar for Avatar and Avatar 2 10 years apart,
Mm-hmm.
and you saw Avatar 2 in IMAX 3D, you saw it in the best way it could.
Mm-hmm.
Do
Oh,
you
yeah.
trust the technology to maybe Lord of the Rings movies going full digital like Avatar did? Imagine a whole movie about the Ents.
Sure, great. As long as they don't do it in 48 frames per second. As long as they don't do it in 48
Avatar 2
FPS.
was, and it looked great.
It mixed. It actually, Avatar 2 changed a lot from regular speed, 24, to 48 speed. It changed back and forth all the time. And you know what? The second time I went back to the theater, I really noticed it. I really noticed it the second time, but I did not notice it the first time. That was fascinating, actually. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, all kinds of fascinating things can happen. But, you know,
If they went fully digital on a Lord of the Rings movie, would you be okay with AI Christopher Lee returning as Saruman?
No, I don't know, man.
We
That's
showed
weird.
you the audio technology that Peter has.
Yeah.
Peter Jackson has magic on his hands in his technological tool chest. I have full confidence that Peter could bring back Christopher Lee,
but
as Saruman.
A lot of the magic of Pandora, the way it's presented in the Avatar films, is that it's all fully created. It's all created by the digital artists. Middle Earth, however, has always taken a great benefit from being photographed in real, stunning physical locations.
This is true.
You don't need
But
you don't
we
need
don't
to
have
invent.
Andrew Lasney anymore.
No, but with Middle Earth, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to reinvent a whole digital version of gorgeous Middle Earth. You've got beautiful places on this real Earth to photograph, and you could digitally enhance them with distant mountains or distant castles or things like that. But sure, you know, the new digital tools are amazing, and I know that Peter Jackson and New Line Cinema, Warner Brothers, they will avail themselves of these digital tools, but they don't need to build the moon of Pandora from scratch. I mean, Middle Earth can be shot here on this Earth.
Just as real as Pandora. Let's be honest.
Can be, but that's because of the effectiveness of the filmmaking and the effectiveness of their craft.
They're both fake worlds. Cliff, do you want to respond to this? Kristen in the chat room wants to know, do you think Christopher Lee had expressed a desire to be in more Lord of the Rings films? Do you think he would have consented?
Oh gosh, I couldn't speculate on that. I'll
do wonder. Speculate. Though. I do think Christopher Lee was the ultimate Lord of the Rings fan. I think both
And
he and Ian Holm and their estates
would be
would
fine with
be
it.
fine with it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, Daisy Kim is saying only if the heirs of Lee get
Oh
compensated for the
yeah,
use of his likeness. But yeah, you know what? If they are fine with it, then in the spirit of Christopher Lee being one of the only cast members who personally met J.R.R. Tolkien and knew him in real life, you know, maybe he has a special legacy that, but you don't want it to look like Grand Moff Tarkin being recreated digitally. You want it
that
to be
worked
like,
well. That worked well for me. By the way,
but
Ian
that's,
Holm came out of retirement to reprise his
yeah.
role as Bilbo and to ensure that his
Oh, he
final
did.
film performance of his
Yes.
illustrious career
Yes.
would be Bilbo Baggins.
How fabulous is that? I love that. I love that. But I don't know, the strange quality of what digital worlds actually do look like versus what we have seen, the photography of New Zealand,
Pandora looked
and
amazing. I'm sorry,
it does.
like it,
But
and they're only getting
Lord of the
better.
Rings fans are more earthy. They're more earthbound, as I have said before. And there's no reason to digitally create Middle Earth when you can just photograph it right here on this Earth.
Well,
Yeah.
well, all right. Well, I don't know. So Peter Jackson gets everything back, and there was a question in the chat room. I don't see any sources. Well, in our article on the homepage of thewondering.net about the Unity thing, we link to other articles where you can get even deeper dives and other sources confirming everything that we say in that article. Other news, Cliff, on the homepage. There's an exclusive Auckland screening of Lord of the Rings Return of the King coming up with a Q&A in person with Sir
Yeah.
Richard Taylor.
In person. Is this the second
it's
event
today.
they're doing?
It's today.
Yeah. I mean, they weren't doing two of them. It's actually just the one.
It's
I think
today.
it's happening.
Uh,
Did it happen earlier today?
yeah, it looks like it happened today. So
Yes.
so if you are watching this and you went to the Auckland screening with Richard Taylor, please send an email to spymaster@theonering.net. There might be a link on our homepage, the spymaster@theonering.net, and you can
That's right.
type up a full report. Give us as much information as possible from the screening that happened this week or today or yesterday.
The Tolkien, the Wonder of Tolkien, who is a Twitter creator,
Yes.
is there in person. And we might get first reports from him.
Well,
we might need to ask him to come
we
and
need
join
to
us and
ask
tell us
him,
what it was
yeah.
like. Yeah, we need to ask him to come join us. Yeah.
This is, and then
I
I
agree.
wanted other news in New Zealand. I wanted to bring this up. This was fun.
I thought you were going to bring that up. Did you see on Instagram Peter promoting the actual Hobbit hole, which is now a real walkthrough instead of just a facade
yeah,
that they've built at the Hobbit location? We do have to get to that too. I was so delighted to see Instagram
I don't know what happened to my
feed.
My tab just whited out, so I'll have to find it. But
okay,
all right.
Yeah.
While I find that video, real quick, Air New Zealand has announced a huge purchase of electrical airplanes.
Oh, how cool is that?
Battery-powered, rechargeable Air New Zealand airplanes. The headline is Air New Zealand will operate Beta's Alia electric aircraft from 2026. They're buying a bunch of them. And these 5-person electric aircraft do not run on fossil fuels. They look like giant drones. Look at that.
They do.
See the 4 helicopters?
They look like drones. Yeah.
That the 4 helicopters. It is called a vertical takeoff and landing. So VTOL.
Okay, that's interesting. Very interesting.
So it's basically a drone big enough to carry 5 passengers. And as you know, Cliff, New Zealand is a collection of islands. There's a North Island, there's a South Island, and you have to take little planes from here and there and everywhere. So New Zealand is one of the first countries to place a major order, as a country, place an order for giant human-sized drones that can transport people really quickly
I
with
love
no
the
fossil fuels expent. It's just a
I, l-
battery-charged human life-sized drone.
I love the way you describe it as a human life-size drone. But that is what that looks like.
And in the press release, Air New Zealand says that these um, all electric airplanes, vertical takeoff airplanes, they don't need a runway. They can just up and down from anywhere. They're first going to be used for the New Zealand Post Office to help deliver mail between the two islands easier than ever. We're going to get to that in a minute, TD Matthew. So this was super fun news that New Zealand is
That is
the
cool.
first country to order a whole fleet of green energy,
Wow.
non-polluting aircraft.
That's actually very cool.
It's
Actually,
really
yes,
cool, right?
it is.
So let's see if we can find Hobbit, the Hobbit video. Let's see. It I think it was posted on Hobbiton movie set. Let's
It was
go to the
definitely posted
tape.
on Instagram. Oh
There
yes,
it
it was.
is.
Yeah, the Hobbiton movie set account. That's right.
Folks, it's real. They've made
Oh
the
my.
Hobbit holes fully walk through.
Oh wow.
Oh boy, look at that. You can finally walk through
Oh goodness.
Bag End.
Oh my
It is
goodness.
a fully featured underground Hobbit hole
Oh my
in New
goodness.
Zealand. There, of course, is picked paintings of Papa and Mama Baggins and the entire Baggins family tree over the fireplace. There are beds and couches. I believe you'll be able to stay in there for an Airbnb fee.
Oh
Crab
goodness
apples.
gracious! You can actually stay in there overnight, not just do a walkthrough, like a temporary half an hour walkthrough.
I
You can
think
actually
that's
stay.
the ultimate plan.
Oh my gosh!
That's the
Wow!
ultimate plan. They had an Airbnb special we reported on a few months ago. So the ultimate goal
Wow.
is to you'll be able to stay in a Hobbit hole. Peter Jackson, of course, did a video. Let's see if we can bring that up.
Yes.
I'm thrilled that people can go inside a Hobbit hole now. It's a terrific culmination of a huge amount of work. It was something that Russell and I have been talking about for years as a concept, and for it to finally happen is almost unbelievable. But it's not unbelievable really, because it's due to just hard work. A massive amount of crew care and love went into these Hobbit holes, and so I think you'll find that you feel that as you go through. It was very important for us that you get to go through a Hobbit hole and it feels lived in. It feels like the Hobbit, whoever lives in there, has just gone down the road to go to do some shopping or go to the marketplace, and that will be back very soon. And so you really are looking at a lived-in place. I love the round corridors. There's something nice about round doors and round corridors. You know, square lines with corners are sort of abrupt. We made sure that these Hobbit holes have the same level of detail that we would expect to see in any Hobbit hole at all. We wanted it to be a satisfying journey from one end of the Hobbit hole to the other, in the front door and out the back door. And to really give people the feeling that, you know, wow, wouldn't this be a cool place to live? It's built by people who care, and for that I thank everybody. I think the whole team very, very much. I'm so pleased to have it finally open and for the public in the future to enjoy.
Cliff, your first reaction to seeing that video?
You're killing me, Larry. My first reaction is, you're killing me. I can't save up enough money. I would have to put another mortgage on my house. Maybe I will someday. Maybe I'll put another mortgage on my house and be able to go down there to New Zealand and go to this amazing place. It's awesome. And it's kind of like everybody's dream come true, to be able to physically walk into the place and have that be the real thing that's in front of you. Like, wow, it's just so awesome.
I messed up my
first-
segue because of that browser tab that broke up. But we were just talking about the electric Air New Zealand electric drone, human-sized drones. Cliff, another big news related to Lord of the Rings and drones. Anduril Technologies, yes, named after the sword itself, Anduril Technologies has made a new autonomous aircraft, a drone that flies itself. Has made a drone that flies itself called Roadrunner, and it has sold a bunch of them to the U.S. Special Forces. Again, Anduril Technologies, named after the Lord of the Rings sword. Anduril Technologies has created a autonomous AI driven plane that can shoot down other aircraft without any human interference. Anduril is the flame of the West, and now the Western power has purchased a bunch of aircraft-killing drones from Anduril Technologies.
Whoa. That's heavy.
Do you think
duty.
Tolkien would appreciate his names being used in military-grade warfare?
No. He would hate this. He would hate it. He would hate it. He would hate it as much as most of us in the fandom equally dislike it. Fair to say. Professor Tolkien was not a hawk. He was not a warmonger. He was a person who wrote about the long defeat. He wrote about the long defeat against good people standing against the evils of the world and trying to find a small amount of grace as we live day by day under these circumstances.
But then he
that's
wrote
what Tolkien was about.
But then he wrote about the inevitability of war. I think his issue with the long defeat is in the word long. It was a long defeat. Do you think Tolkien would appreciate that war is no longer fought by 19-year-olds on a muddy battlefield? Do you think Tolkien would appreciate that this drone saves lives in war?
Nope. You have a deeply problematic deficit in your logic by saying the words save lives and war in the same sentence. I'm sorry. There's a big deficit in that. You can't have war and save lives at the same time.
Well,
no.
So what do you think? What do you think?
What do you think about? What do you think? Would Professor Tolkien be happy
Anduril?
What about Peter Thiel using the name Palantir? All these tech bros and companies using, and I don't care if they're defense contractors or they're building network systems or surveillance systems, but that's usually what it all is. And all of their weird affectation about getting the copyright use from the estate to use a Tolkien weapon, name, character, or artifact.
It's on their
bizarre.
Websites. They don't have permission.
It's so bizarre.
They state on their websites that Anduril and the company Palantir Technologies both do not are unaffiliated and not licensed by. What do you think it is about some of these technology companies using? Well, we'll save that conversation for another show because
we should have that. That's a
show.
big talk. And that's going to get ugly. That's a big talk. But to answer the simplest form of your cosmetic question, just on the cosmetic level of that, I will say, along with what Cecilia is said in the live chat, yes, war is inevitable, but Tolkien hated war. He hated war. And he felt he suffered from PTSD, I'm sure. He saw people die in the trenches under the mustard gas that you wouldn't believe. Unless you saw the Dome Korokovsky film, the wonderful movie, Tolkien, and you'd see for yourself some of the hardships of the war that he went through. But you want to get a good taste of how bad it is for the British and from his generation, Professor Tolkien's generation. who are immortalized in Peter Jackson's documentary, They Shall Not Grow Old. I mean, look at this. Look at what they went through. He would have been
Did Tolkien ever
deeply
comment
puzzled.
on the bomb? Let's talk about Oppenheimer. Did Tolkien ever comment? You know what? This is
Not
a
that I
bigger
know of.
conversation. We should
Not
do
that I
our
know of.
homework and come back on
Yeah.
a future episode to talk about this
There's-
because I
But
feel
there's
like
no
there's a
way
good-
he would. There's no way he'd be delighted at this weird use of companies trying to use his characters' names for certain weird company
Do
purposes.
you want to read
I don't
this
think he'd be down
comment
for that.
in the YouTube chat, Cliff? Do you see this comment from Matthew?
Where is that? Let me see. How far up? How far down in the
It
YouTube
just
chat? Because
posted.
there's Otaku Senpai, Anonymous Girl, Dan Bites. I don't see Matthew.
Okay, it
in-
says it is not
I don't-
unlikely that they goblins invented some of the machines that have since troubled the world, especially the ingenious devices for killing large numbers of people at once.
Yep. Yeah. I don't see that in the YouTube chat, but yes, I do remember that quote. I remember it vividly. Yeah, it is therefore Tolkien in the literature, Professor Tolkien telling us that the assignation of blame to the goblins, the orcs, the evildoers, for the development of mechanized weaponry. That's very much philosophically on point. Mechanized weaponry would be a tool only used by the followers of Morgoth and Sauron.
Let me ask
That
you
was his
this.
idea about that.
The third age, where Lord of the
Yeah.
Rings takes place, talks about the mechanization of war. Can you tell me,
At the hands of Saruman. Yes.
do the battles of the second age have a similar construct? Or is that not part of the wars and the battles in the Fall of Numenor in the Second Age?
No.
It's not about technological warfare.
The whole strange concept of Saruman having some type of explosives or
that's right.
sorcery
Undo
combined
stone.
with explosives.
How can
that
fire
stuff-
undo stone?
That stuff was late Third Age in the story, and it was a suggestion that time was moving forward and that modernization in its ugliness was bound to happen in Middle Earth. And it was just the earliest pattern of that starting there.
Well, now
I mean,
I'm curious, Cliff.
he never said the phrase gunpowder, you know.
Right. My
It
final
was
question.
Peter,
My final question
you know.
for this, Cliff.
Yeah. I'm here.
Should Rings of Power at all be concerned with having a storyline about the mechanization of war, or is that solely reserved for the third
No,
age?
that's late Third Age stuff. No, I don't think Rings of Power needs to worry about any of that thematic approach.
I hope
They
they're
need to
listening.
worry about the thematic approach of the elves' pursuit of deathlessness
time.
versus the real
Just focus on time.
time. But the moral imperative of two species that have different spiritual destiny.
The
Men
rings
and
aren't made
elves-
as weapons, are they?
No, the rings. Well, the rings are made of systems of control.
That
were
yeah,
made
they're,
of systems
they're
of
not the
control.
bomb. They're not Oppenheimer, right?
They're not a
Like-
bomb. No, they're not like that at all. No. That analogy won't work. That analogy doesn't work.
Wow, this is so fascinating. All right, moving on. Let's
Yeah,
go to
it is,
something
actually.
happier. Cliff, this week we posted the Middle Earth gift guide. Welcome to December. Black Friday, Cyber Monday have just passed us, and now it is December, and
Okay,
it's time
I'm ready
to
for it.
buy some gifts.
Hey, let's go back to split screen on me, because I think I was ready for this exact moment. I knew you were going to mention the wonderful gift guide. Here you go. Am I back? Are you guys ready?
You're here.
Are you guys ready? Guess what?
Oh wait.
Guess what?
Let me get
Da-da-da, da-da-da. I am ready for the holidays. And now it's time for our holiday gift guide on the OneRing.net. Folks, the weather outside is frightful, but we have beautiful gift ideas right here on the OneRing.net. And I am so ready. Thank you, Justin, for pulling that up. I knew you would.
Well,
So,
let's get into it.
let's
For
talk about
book
it. Let's get into it.
Cliff, the number one thing on our list, of course, is the letters.
The letters of
J.R.R.
J.R.R. Tolkien. Yes. Oh my
We've done.
gosh. I'm
We've had some great conversations here on Torn Tuesday. You can go to our
Oh,
YouTube and look
yes.
at past episodes where we dive into all of the fascinating, awesome changes of the book. And remember, the version that you want to purchase or receive has Tolkien's signature on it.
That's
Not
right.
not a basic font or anything. You want
That's
his
right.
signature on the cover. That ensures
Yes.
that it is the revised and expanded edition. Cliff, you don't have that one yet, but you have the original.
Yeah, I have the original. Oh, yes, definitely. I have the original. It's, oh gosh, I think it's right there on my shelf. But I'm itching to get my hands on this expanded edition. It includes so much more, including omitted letters that have never been there and expansion of existing letters with much more personal content and personal insights added in to the existing letters that you might already be familiar with. And I'm telling you, this is my number one must-have book right now. Must have it. Gotta have it.
All right, moving on.
The holiday can't come soon enough, man. I'm telling you.
Collectibles. New Zealand Post has some awesome stamps and collectible coins that have just come out. These are always
yes, we do.
prized.
Oh man,
Great
these new
stocking stuff.
New Zealand stamps are so good. They're so good. I love this stuff. I love it.
And then Cliff,
Now,
they credited me for being enthusiastic about Wizards of the Coast Magic: The Gathering, but you're the one that is the board game expert with the Lord of the Rings Magic cards and the Lord of the Rings Tales of Middle Earth board game set.
Yes. Look at this. Look what I've got handy dandy. Some wonderful brand new collector boosters of the Hildebrandt brothers 1970s artwork from the Hildebrandt brothers, and they also had a look. They had another like psychedelic posters type of artwork that was even more cool. Recent Lord of the Rings cards that have some wild front-facing artwork.
And they're not just worth collecting; they're worth playing. Right? It's fun to play.
Yeah, they're literally playable cards. Also, they have jumpstart boosters where you can just put a couple of boosters together, and they have a new edition, a whole new separate edition of jumpstart boosters that you can use to quick build a whole random deck of cards without you having to spend hours putting together a 60 deck of cards. You just quick shuffle and you're ready to go with an instant game. The beautiful things that they send out in these gift boxes for Magic the Gathering include life counters that count down from your 20 life points down to 0, and some of the really cool. Oops, there it goes. Hey, I just lost that D20. There's some starter packs that have pre-made 60 card starter decks that are really excellent to start with if you're a newbie and you've never played it before. But also, can I take one quick second? They sent this to me. I'm going to take 1 second to grab it off the shelf. They are art cards and portrait cards arranged in a beautiful frame box so you can build the entire artwork scene that is encased upon 6 cards arranged in an order. Let me show you. It's really cool.
All right, while Cliff goes and gets that, Weta Workshop has some amazing...
Here it is. I got it.
collectibles. Is that just a box?
This is the whole scene of Gandalf fighting against the Witch King in the Pelennor Fields. And this entire box includes more booster packs, entire new unopened boosters, as well as the traditional 6 cards in foil, a foil representation that gets sit into a big display, a big, beautiful display easel, and it sits upright, and you have a work of art on your desk, as well as collectible foil cards. This is a really gorgeous little gift pack because it specializes in giving you a complete scene you will not have anything missing out of the sequence of cards. You'll have exactly the sequence to build the whole extra portrait on the display easel, and you get more random boosters so you can play more games with more variability and different tricks and styles of strategy in your play style. It's really cool. And I was really excited to see these things. Isn't it cool?
It's awesome.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Oh, and you just said that there was some really cool statues and collectibles that had just come up.
There's the Diamond Select has a bunch of wonderful minifigs.
Yes.
And some wonderful, I think, 1/12 scale of Aragorn and Nazgul. And some really good. I mean, that really does look like
nice.
Sean Astin. So this is all from Diamond Select Toys, which usually isn't on people's radars. So it's good to show that. And of course, if you can get your hands on it, this makes a great under the tree Christmas gift. It is the Lego Rivendell set.
I should have bought that.
Extremely jealous of anybody.
I should have bought it when I had the chance. I had the chance. Why? I was at Disneyland with my friends earlier this late summer, and I'm wandering down there to downtown Disney. What do they have there? A huge, huge Lego store. Oh, and it's one of their pilot stores. It's huge, has all the significant stuff that you could ever imagine. And lo and behold, there it was on the shelf in front of me, that their beautiful, bloody Rivendell set at regular retail price. Don't bother looking at what the cost is on eBay. Sorry,
look
kids.
At this. If you
do
already
not bother.
have it, and if you know someone that already has it,
I love it.
There's a website called lightmybricks.com. We linked to it
on
our
website.
Lightmybricks.com have come up with
good.
an entire lighting kit that you can add to your Lego Lord of the Rings Rivendell set.
Gosh.
So if you're looking for something for someone that already has this and has everything, I'm sure they don't have lightmybricks.com, the Lego Lord of the Rings.
Lightmybricks.com.
Lightmybricks.com.
That is the most suggestive thing you've ever said to me. Lightmybricks.com.
But it looks so cool. How much is this? $139.99 for just for the lights. So there you go.
What?
And of course, Cliff, there was a brand new illustrated edition of The Hobbit with only pictures by the author himself, J.R.R. Tolkien.
That's extraordinary. That's something to talk about. Look at how beautiful that is.
That is a special book that's worth getting.
Very.
There is an awesome Lord of the Rings.
It also matches the other. It matches the other previous hardcover editions that they made. It matches the editions.
Lord of the Rings
with the
tarot
slipcase
deck from Insight Editions. It's like getting a mini gallery of art and a Palantir in a box. It's available
look at how interesting.
Universe.com.
That's very strange and interesting. I haven't seen that yet.
Lord of the Rings tarot deck.
That's cool.
If you're in the mood for some Middle-earth inspired ornamentation on a standard card deck, there's Theory 11 has some Poker Night, regular 52 card pickup 52 card Lord of the Rings editions. Wow, these look wonderful.
You know what?
Jewelry,
I've got beautiful 52 card deck from New Line Cinema. I've got Return of the King deck of cards.
Also
really
available cool. is our friends at Badali Jewelry is an official licensee of Middle Earth Enterprises, and so all of their jewelry, including these Rohan earrings and this Ereborn necklace, and they have all the 9 rings of men as they are named.
Oh, they're beautiful.
And
they're beautiful.
It's beautiful. So I highly recommend Badali Jewelry. Again, you can find the links on our website. And of course, there's a bunch of fun things. There's some officially licensed Hobbit dresses from Hot Topic and Her Universe.
Oh yeah, cool! Look at that
wonderful sweaters.
Those are so cool.
Man, I actually do want that sweater. And
What?
OSHA
That's a pretty
slings.
badass sweater. It really is.
Her universe has a Galadriel dress. Man, you don't need an excuse to wear that. Just wear that out.
Sure. I'd be glad to put on a lovely frock anytime. That sounds great.
Here's a set of 4 pewter shot glasses. This is fun. Again, officially licensed.
Ooh, those are so nice. Those are nice.
By Nemesis,
I love those.
Nemesis now, but you can find them at Walmart and Amazon. So, if you're just looking for something fun and small, stocking stuffer, a set of 4 pewter shot glasses is fun.
As long as it's lead coated, I mean, coated against the lead. Long as you're not.
And then we've got another book. This is The Fellowship of the Knits. An entire book
knitting
of patterns and knitting patterns.
Yes,
for the creative,
for the cosplayers,
for the cosplayers,
definitely for the cosplayers out there. That is so cool.
So
that's
we've
gorgeous.
got so many links to Sideshow, Asmus Toys, Shire Post Mint, Donato Giancola, Jerry Vanderstelt, Jenny Dolphin, Tolkien Calendar Silverware, Fisher Price, Fire Pits. We've got links to so many things on the Lord of the Rings at our holiday gift guide, which is now on the front page of the OneRing.net. And Cliff,
check it out. You guys got to check it out. But
not
also,
on that list.
Otaku Senpai has mentioned no Rings of Power merch at all. Not even a 2024 calendar for the Rings of Power.
Nothing.
I'm like, yep.
This is
nothing.
Nothing. And also, that's why we don't have 4K Steelbook DVD versions of Rings of Power, because that's considered merch, and they still don't have a merch license. Separately, if you are a well-to-do collector, Christie's Auction House has listed a Tolkien letter, a 2-page Tolkien letter from 1950.
Oh, goodness gracious. Look at that.
Would
you look at that letter? Wow.
Tolkien writes about regretting about using umbrellas in Lord of the Rings. A long autograph letter on the realism, moral nuance, and historical tradition underpinning its work, from the economic plausibility of Gondor to the decadence of elves.
Wow. Holy frijoles. I'm lost. I'm lost that Tolkien went back and said, I regret putting in any umbrella.
Cliff, this is I'm looking at this. It is dated September 25th, 1954. When was Fellowship published?
I believe Fellowship was published in July of 1954, or maybe September of that same year.
So this is fresh from the publication of the first Fellowship of the Ring, not even the 2 sequels.
All right. It says that Fellowship of the Ring, not the book.
Yeah.
Good heavens.
The final paragraph, I'm trying to read his handwriting. Tolkien writes in this 2-page letter, you may be interested to hear it
was published July 29th of that year. July 29th. Got it. Okay.
You may be interested to hear about a reprint of The Fellowship that is already to be needed. But I do suppose the first printing was very large.
Oh, wow.
So Fellowship sold out immediately. And by September, when did you say it was published? July?
Yeah, July 29th. That's right. Yes.
All right. So by September, they were already ordering a second printing. And here it is in his own handwriting confirming that. I wonder if there's a bid on this yet.
My goodness gracious.
Starting bid £28,000.
Oh my gosh, how can I go to New Zealand and stay in the Hobbit hole at the same time I need to buy this letter? How can I
Well,
afford? I
Cliff,
can't afford all these things. Oh
in
my
our
gosh, that's crazy.
Cliff, in our
That's crazy.
conversation from a couple weeks ago with the Tolkien guide, they said that these letters pop up at auction for crazy amounts. Did you think that a letter
Yeah,
like this would would would
never.
would be going for £28,000?
I'm not surprised. Maybe I'm surprised it's not more expensive. Maybe
Well,
I'm just surprised it's not more costly. I mean, really.
all
Wow.
right, and then our final
Wow.
gift guide thing, Weta
Oh my
just
goodness.
announced something in your price range.
Ooh, okay. Let
The
me see.
wedding ceremony, Aragorn and Arwen.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people have shared that with me. Some lady online said it looks like a cake topper. It does look like a wedding
Coronation
cake topper.
Arwen.
Yes.
Coronation Arwen.
That means she's in that
Wow.
beautiful mint green dress. She's in that beautiful mint green dress that
Yes.
is so famous that everyone loves. Yeah. That's gorgeous
Wow.
stuff, isn't it?
And the silver on her headdress sparkles in the light.
Oh
Uh
my gosh, that's amazing. Look at that. That's amazing.
the back of
Um,
her hair, the detail on her ear.
someone in the chat said lottery tickets. And yeah, that might be the solution to all my problems. So I can buy the
This
£30,000 private letter, win the lottery.
this is a bargain for this 1/6 scale. This is a bargain at $399 for Coronation Arwen.
Oh, that is gorgeous.
And then let's take a
That is
look
so
at
gorgeous. And you
Coronation
know,
King
oh,
Aragorn.
look at the detail on that. Are you kidding me? It's nuts. Look at that. I mean, wowzer. Oh, this is so cool. And that look on his face, they really captured that look on his face. It's amazing. He looks a little bit like sad, happy, and like he's just going to freak out because he sees Arwen and he's just totally tripping. He's tripping. That look on his face, it's so great. I love that.
And then the chat room is answering each other, but yes, the Noble Collection is still a very much in demand licensed distributor and creator of
Oh, yeah.
weaponry. So
Look at
the
that.
Noble Collection still has a ton of stuff, but Weta, Cliff, I cannot believe that they would launch these beautiful new products right now, just before Christmas. I don't want to give these away as a gift. I need these for my own, my
this
precious.
this is where someone just says, I'm going to put this on my list and hope that somebody looks at my gift registry and sees what I want. But they are gorgeous. You know what's odd, though? I would think that both of these figures would be sold as a pair. I didn't think they'd be sold separately. That might be just my weird idea about how to, make it more appealing as a collectible item. But having both figures appear as a pair makes sense to me. I mean, they are together at that coronation, and that's the biggest thing is to have them together. You
And
know?
Cliff, and then another thing that's
Yeah.
not on the list, but we reported here on this show that you guys need to pick it up. The fascist Tolkien
Ooh.
book.
I got yelled at by someone on Twitter who said, "This is not promoting fascism. You're just harming the professor. So stop saying that."
There it
And I'm
is.
like, "Well, okay.
Dan,
We're not
guest of the show, Dan, picked this up
that is
at that controversial fascist Tolkien exhibit. Thank you, Dan. He brought home a whole book. It is a
which
beautiful hardcover edition. It is all in Italian,
oh gosh, that
and
looks amazing."
it's.
But we confirmed that there wasn't really much fascism going on in the museum. It was really
I
not
mean,
framed
pictures
that
of
way at all.
Tolkien and Edith
That's a
in the
very popular
garden.
photo. I love that.
Um, Pictures of all the different covers of
Oh,
Lord of
that's
the
so cool.
Rings. Um, you know, they've licensed a ton
Wow.
of photos of
Yep.
Tolkien. They have a ton of photos of Italian artwork
Oh yeah.
from the books and inspired by the
That's cool.
movies and the Hobbit camps. Receipts from when Tolkien visited Italy twice.
Oh my goodness.
The
Wow.
receipt from where he stayed. some
Oh.
other artwork. So
And
this is basically
how much does that cost?
This is basically the gift book. The gift book from the gift shop at the museum.
Yeah.
But there is Mabel Tolkien.
That's his mom.
That's his mom.
Yeah. I love that.
And
That's
a
so
picture
cool.
of their farmhouse.
Yeah.
And mom in old age. And we recognize a lot of this stuff.
There's young
Whirlwind
Edith.
Shakespeare, Macbeth. Photos of his personal collection of books.
Oh yeah.
Pictures of the books. So this is a wonderful hardcover Tolkien, the professor from the controversial Italian exhibit. If you have a chance to go to Rome, Italy, it's there through February, I believe.
If you have a chance to go to Rome, take it.
Cliff,
all roads lead to Rome.
You saw the photos and videos. I mean, weren't you impressed?
Yeah. Yes. In fact, I was just telling our audience that after a careful walkthrough and a conversation with our friend who was there was no evidence of, the fascist political party pushing itself or pushing its agenda. It seemed to be a rather legitimate and nicely curated collection for the museum. That's what it seemed to be.
And
all indications are go. Really.
And I'm reading the book right now, and I'm not a fascist yet. So there you go. Cliff, the chat room wants to know about United Cutlery, wants to know about where to get replica weapons from Lord of the Rings. Again, go to theonering.net. On our homepage, yes. There is the Middle-earth gift guide right on our homepage, and we link to a lot of that stuff. So just
nice.
Just click there. And you can see a ton of links all through the article to a bunch of different officially licensed Lord of the Rings things, including the United Cutlery.
It's very exciting, and I'm totally down for a visit to Rome. You know what? Maybe I need to start a Patreon or a GoFundMe so I can get to Rome and see this before it's all over. I tell you what, thank you for pointing out, Justin, one of the less obvious things, but not only do we have a lot of social media presence, but we still have the original granddaddy website. So point your browser to theonering.net. That's right. Use your browser. You know you have one. And take a look at our gift guide. We put together a very nice gift guide this year. And it's an impressive set of merch, considering that there were no toys, books, games, or glowing goblets from Prime Video. We still have a pretty excellent year of beautiful things. And oh my gosh, those stamps from the New Zealand Post, definitely worth checking out.
And
Justin,
we are a week and a half away from the 20th anniversary of the release of Return of the King, December 17th,
I can't believe it.
2003.
I can't believe we are so close, and Warner Brothers Discovery has not made an announcement about a theatrical re-release.
Let's
have they not? Wait, they have not made an announcement about a theatrical re-release.
Sworn to secrecy.
Is it time for Green Dragon gossip?
Weeks, all I have
you
to
got
know
gossip? I want to know the gossip.
All I have to say is look for some wonderful, wonderful stuff in the next 2 weeks.
Oh my goodness.
About Tales of the Shire video games, potentially having a trailer on Thursday during the Game Awards.
That sounds cool.
We might see some recognition of the 20th anniversary of Return of the King. Now that the strikes are over and people are allowed to promote things, we might see, I'm not saying, but we might see some celebrations of the 20th anniversary of Return of the King.
It's got to happen.
And I do think that after the huge hit at Comic-Con in Brazil, Amazon Prime is ramping up marketing, and who knows what may happen. So we are a week and a half away, December 17th. That is the Sunday after next. I think many people are going to try to do watch-alongs. If you join our Discord, and I tell you this every week, but Discord is where a lot of action is happening. It's where all the stuff gets leaked first. There's stuff
That's
that we
true.
haven't told you on the show that the fans are talking
Yes,
about
that's true.
in the Discord, because when things leak, they leak on Discord first. But
It's like a leaky pipe. It's like a old pipe. It's
they
leaky.
are coordinating. They are coordinating a global watch along in the Discord, so everybody can just pop in their copy of Return of the King, and we can all watch it together while chatting in the chat room, in the Discord chat room. So they're planning that for a week and a half from now, because the 17th is the global release date. So let's look forward at all the fun stuff. And you
very
know what?
much looking forward. Wow.
The thing
Do you
that
know what
I'm
else I
most
want to
looking-
say?
Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I just want to say that the concept of all this stuff happening, and the next Comic-Con that's around the corner, if I'm not mistaken, it's next spring. It'll be Anaheim WonderCon. Okay? Do we anticipate any more convention things like the stuff they showed in Brazil? Are they going to start bringing that around the world to other conventions? Will they show us stuff in San Diego next July? We have often on this program, we have predicted that the War of the Rohirrim anime film will probably get the lion's share of attention next coming summer at San Diego Comic-Con. Do we still hold to that prediction?
Oh,
Do we?
yeah. Comic-Con next year, the next summer, is going to be all about Season 2 of Rings of Power and the War of the Rohirrim feature film movie in December. I'm telling you, it's going to be all so much Lord of the Rings at Comic-Con, and I'm just so excited. And I hope
it will be.
I hope we get an announcement before then that Peter Jackson is coming back. Again, we just reported earlier in the show, Peter gets to keep the $1.6 billion that he got for selling Weta tools. He gets to keep the money. He just won a bunch of Emmys for working with the Beatles. He's probably going to win a Grammy for working with the Beatles. We just showed you the technology that Peter has. And Cliff, you remember what Peter said? Said?
I do.
He has 2 scripts ready to go, and who knows? And they're a couple years away. Peter, we want you back, and with your best pal, Big Jim Cameron.
Your best pal, Big Jim. That's funny.
Imagine Big Jim and Big Pete teaming up to be the Kevin Feige's of Middle Earth.
That would be the most crazy thing.
It would make Lord
that would be
of
the
Rings
most crazy thing.
The biggest franchise, bigger than Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni.
Gosh.
Like, who's the Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni of Middle Earth? It's Peter Jackson and Big Jim Cameron. That's who it is.
You might be right. You might be you might be 1,000%.
That's what I want for
that.
Christmas. I'm just throwing it out in the world. This has been a wonderful show. Thank you, and make sure you purchase from Lord of the Rings officially licensed vendors, because we want to tell the people in power at Embracer and Middle Earth that we want merch. Keep making stuff.
Yeah, and that's important. So support Badali Jewelry and other official licensees. So, I mean, this is really sending the message up the food chain about where they should put their concerns with other merchandise and other possibilities of merch. So good advice, Justin. I'm glad you mentioned that. Very good. And it has been a lovely show. I want to acknowledge the audience yet again, all these years being with us. Hello, Pipske and Anonymous Girl, Wheat Bix, Otaku Senpai. Hey, I just saw Daisy Kim, Erovandi, Ellen, and Pipske. We love you, Pipske. It's so great to have you guys here. Susan and Robin and everybody in between that I've missed. Justin, you're not traveling for the holiday, are you? You're not traveling.
I don't know.
You're gonna be around.
Look, if Amazon calls and says, "Hey, we need you to do a set report," like I'm available. I'm available to travel. Single zero here.
Sounds good.
Oh, thank you, Wheat Bix. One last footnote on the show. SAG-AFTRA ballots are due tonight. So as of tonight, the SAG union will vote, and we should have results by morning on whether, maybe even tonight, but at least by morning, whether the union has approved the contract for SAG.
Gosh, I'm glad you researched that. So tonight is the big night. Wow, there's going to be a lot more conversation about that. Tomorrow, we'll be looking at the results. Yeah, good luck, Sean. And hello, Zap Vera Sepa. I can't say your name properly. Otherwise, I would have given you an acknowledgement too. Zap Vera Sepa? Something like that. What a great audience. Hey, did you know that there's also audiobooks? I don't know if it's mentioned in our holiday gift guide. The Andy Serkis audiobooks. Please let us not forget, because I'm watching a whole lot of new ad campaigns for the next Planet of the Apes movie. I think it's Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. And I keep thinking about Andy Serkis and his amazing performance. But boy, those audiobooks that Andy did are amazing, wonderful gifts to also consider giving as well.
Very good.
What a beautiful show. Thank you, everybody. Justin, you're awesome for pushing the levers and the buttons and getting things done and getting us on the air. Let's
Italy.
Go to Rome.
Live from Italy.
Let's go to Rome. All roads lead to Rome. Yeah.
I love that we changed the conversation about this controversial. It's not fascist at all. It's just
there wasn't anything controversial there at all. But
no,
at least it gave a lot of us an interesting doorway to come into the room and talk about why the Italians have this generations-long weird affection on the fascist side of their political spectrum.
And I will always
their fascination with Tolkien.
I think Tolkien hated the American hippie movement embracing his stories more than he hated the Italian fascists for embracing it.
Well, that's
I think
completely
he really hated the hippies.
That's maybe he said something in his letters about the hippies,
and he was a staunch Catholic Vatican I conservative. He hated the American hippies. I think
why would he align with anything that was
would
anti-immigration, pro-fascist? He wasn't in alignment with that.
Just
because he was first catechism, first Catholic, whatever. I don't think that he would have been down for any of that stuff.
The guy that refused to say the church things in anything but the original Latin, to spite Vatican II. Anyways,
Vatican II, you're so funny.
He loved. He loved Italy. He loved Italy. He loved the church. He loved the Catholic Church. He loved the Pope, and he loved selling his books in Italy from 1937 on. What was going on in Italy in 37 to 45? A whole lot of fascism.
Do you know what?
Why don't
you stop insinuating that Tolkien supported fascism?
He did support fascism. He did not support fascism, but he hated the hippie movement.
But you're insinuating.
He hated the hippie movement.
So, all right, we're going to have some of his publishers on the air. In an upcoming interview, we promise you, folks, we're going to bring in some wonderful people from the British and the American publishers, and we will talk about the publishing history of The Lord of the Rings, and we'll get into some gritty, nitty-gritty. It'll be great. It'll be really interesting. So, hey, this is an awesome show, and perhaps we've protracted it just a wee bit. I'm going to send all my
speculate
love
on this all day.
I want to send all my love and affection to the audience, and it's really great to have you guys with us again, as always. So many things to do this holiday season, but we will be back next Tuesday, right here at 5 p.m. Pacific time, for another invigorating talk with news and speculation here at theonering.net. Join us next week for Torn Tuesday. In the meantime, follow us on all socials at theonering.net. Add the dot to your web browser and go visit the onering.net main page. Me, I am QuickBeam2000, Clifford Broadway, on all those socials, and soon about to appear on Threads and other places. Get your butt to the theater and see The Boy and the Heron. It's a stunning film, absolutely brilliant, and it is the first Studio Ghibli movie ever released on IMAX. Gonna go see it again a third time on Friday. Powerhouse animation from Miyazaki and great stuff. And that concludes our show. So we say to everybody, as we always do, good night, And good luck, or better yet, buenos noches y buena suerte. Bye-bye, everybody. Take care.
Balcony is closed.
The balcony should be closed.